Call the February 10th, 2026 Planning Board meeting to order. Before we get to any items on the agenda, I just wanted to introduce Cheryl as the new recording secretary. Do you want to take a minute and just introduce yourself, give a little background to the board members?
Yes, thank you. My name is Cheryl Andrew. I live on Shaker Road. My husband and I moved to Canterbury in 2019, just before pandemic. So obviously we didn't go anywhere or meet anybody. And then there was an ad on the town website last year looking for people that would be willing to fill in as recording secretaries, and I thought this would be an opportunity for me to become more involved in the community. So here I am.
It's lovely to have you. Welcome.
I've
Benefit for now
already
of
made note.
name tags.
That's helpful,
I
thank
was
you.
on Shaker Road too.
All right, if there's no opposition, Michelle flagged that Megan will be here in a couple minutes and wanted to talk a minute, so we'll push off the minutes for now. Is there a motion to address the minutes at the end of the meeting?
I'll move to postpone the minutes until later in the meeting.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The first hearing then is the subdivision application for map 213, lot 11, Baptistville Road. We have Webster out here for the applicant, so you're welcome to join us.
Sitting, but I'll probably stand once.
Yeah, so at the starting point, can you, we'll take a vote on completeness, but I think you have two waiver request items, so if you could address
Yes.
those for the board.
Yes,
Great.
I'm asking for two waivers. One is for the wetlands. I gotta explain the map first.
Okay.
This line right here, this property actually falls in two different zones, the agricultural and the rural. That line is right here. So this is 3 acre zoning, this is 5 acre zoning. What I instructed the wetland scientist to just approve to this board that there's a buildable area on each one of these lots that meets the minimum requirement, the 3 acres and the 5 acres, is that this line is where she delineated to. This is actually, right here you see, this is about 3.25 acres, this is about 3.5 acres, and this is about 5.2 acres of area that you see, with the wetlands that are associated in those areas. What I'm asking for is we don't have to show the rest of the wetlands on it.
So she's delineated
She
those
has
that front
delineated
11-ish acres and then
Exactly, to prove to the board that here's the buildings. This is these lots are all over 5 acres.
It's not particularly wet back there in my recollection.
No, steep.
Steep, but not really.
There's, if you drive by now, I mean, Ken had a lot of the property mowed in the front. So you can see back here, you can see this go down into a wetland. This wetland does continue, she just stopped because it was over the limit of 5 acres. The other waiver, any questions? The other waiver that I'm asking for is, and I'm not sure if it's a typo in your checklist, but it says a vicinity map, 1 inch equals 500. That's an awful large scale. It's showing that map.
Large as in, you would need a lot more space or less space?
This, just to show the board. This is basically this area up here, it shows Wyven Road. This is 1 inch equals 500, this is on 11 by 17. The only reason I say that is normally these vicinity maps are one at 4,000 and one at 5,000. Just so you can get, wow, where is it?
So I
I think, and I don't know.
Sorry, I was making a note as to, for us to come back and revisit that part of the checklist.
Okay.
So,
But those are the two waivers that I'm asking for.
are there any Any questions from the board as it relates to application completeness? I didn't see any issues on the final. Alright, could I get a motion to accept the application as complete, subject to the 2 waiver requests?
I'll move to accept the application for that 213 lot 11 Baptist Road as complete, with the exception of the waivers requested.
I'll second that.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Alright. Alright, on to the meat and potatoes.
We're probably all familiar with where this is located. Baptist Hill Road, Briar Bush Road. Just about 29 acres, 29 acres in size. And if you've been up there, the only structure that's on this property is that barn that's really close to the road. I have 2-foot contours. This has been extrapolated from the granite LiDAR with field checks for the elevations. This is really good stuff for doing this. I mean, we show 2-foot contours by the New Hampshire Land Surveyors Association, New Hampshire. Any topography, you can be within a foot, meaning vertical, and you're okay. So if you show 2 foot, you got a 1 foot leeway. If you show 1 foot, you get a half foot. This is 2 foot all around. With the field checks, obviously really good. We run traverse all the way around the outside, plus getting any locations on the inside. So these all have elevations on it. I've also shown 25% slopes. I know they're hard to see, but they're the shaded areas in here that show the slopes that are 25% or greater. Again, this is in 2 zones. It was probably a year ago, where I did a subdivision up on Wyven Road. We had the same situation where a lot was bisected by the zoning line, and you go with the more dominant or the larger portion. It doesn't make an issue in this case because, again, these are all over 5 acres. 3 acre zoning down here, 5 acres.
Where's the line where the zoning changes?
Right here.
Right there.
Right over here. All the lots exceed the frontage, meet the minimum lot size. We don't need state subdivision approval because they're all over 5 acres. I did supply photos of the property, and again, they're just from the road towards. I have delineated approximate driveway points of access. I've also shown a 4K in the well. I usually do that even if it's on a 5 acre lot, just to show you how it would go. Not saying that's where the well would go or the septic system would go, but it just gives the board an idea of where it would fit. That's about it. The wetlands have been delineated by soil scientists. This plan doesn't stand, but I believe it's going to stand.
Any questions? Any questions from any of the board members as it relates to the subdivision criteria? Pretty straightforward to me. You've got the minimum lot size, you've got the frontage, you've got the rectangle that makes the lots uniform. And there's a square. Okay. Let me see if I can pull up the one that was in the email and just confirm it has the stamp. And if it's not there, we can just have it as a condition that you state before you record it. Oh, I understood your motion to be granted as complete with those waivers, meaning that we implicitly approve the
list of checklist, that's fine with me as long as it's written that way.
As complete with the exceptions for the waivers.
It's not really, that,
Yeah, could have worded it slightly differently, but the point being.
I just can't see that.
Alright. Yeah. Oh, I can't see the titles for all of these documents, but which one's the actual plan?
Here,
Scott might have one.
we can just make it conditional, as you
Yeah,
said.
let's just, I think we could say,
Yeah.
to the extent that the plan is not already stamped by the wetland scientist who did delineate it, that it be added before it's recorded.
I know it's on the plans that I submitted, and it will be stamped for the recording.
I'm sorry.
We'll put it into a motion, so it
Okay,
will be,
thank you.
so, I look for a motion to grant the subdivision, with the condition that to the extent the plan has not already been stamped as, by a certified wetland scientist, that be added prior to recording. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Excuse me, I'm in a butter and I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite as crisp as all of you may have been, okay?
No,
On property regulations and so forth. But I own a piece of property across the way and I was in front of this board and the selectmen a couple of years ago. And so I want to be crystal clear that I have a concern here. All right, number one, what are specifically, if it could be repeated, are the waivers that are trying to be granted here?
So, the two waivers are not from subdivision requirements, they're from application requirements.
Right?
One of them is that, the map, do you mind
Sure.
spinning that so you can see it? At the top right of that
That's
plan.
right. No, that's right.
No, yeah.
I don't wanna
So,
mess everybody up.
The top right is
Yeah.
called a locus map, and it's
Yeah.
supposed to show where the bonus portion sort of fits into the overall scheme.
Yeah.
And there's a scale that our regulations say it should be on.
Okay, so I got the scale one.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. And then the second one is that a basic requirement for all applications is that wetlands have to be delineated by wetland scientists. And the waiver is not to not comply with that entire requirement, it's to only delineate, do you mind showing the line?
Sure. Excuse me.
It's to delineate the front,
This line right
Yep,
here.
I got you.
Right, is where the wetlands were delineated.
Yep.
We're just asking not to delineate on the.
and so that
Uh-huh.
the board could see the front 3 acres of each of those 2 lots on the bottom and that 5 acre portion approximately on the top have been delineated, and that the back acres are not delineated. And that there's a separate requirement, which we call the Canterbury rectangle, which both goes to uniformity, but also to show that there's an area where they can have a building envelope. And so on the plan, you'll see a proposed building envelopes,
Yep,
septic and well locations that would fit within the area that's been delineated.
right. So I'm assuming based on those comments, that your intent is to subdivide this into 3 buildable lots over there and place houses on them.
Yes.
And so here's my problem I'm having, okay? A couple of years ago, I have a right of way on my second parcel. I have wetlands all the way down the front of that land. And both the selectman and your town attorney told me, oh no, you gotta go this way. And you granted an illegal driveway permit at the same time. I'm not here to renegotiate that right now. But I have a little bit of a problem when somebody's telling me, oh, we can move around on the wetlands area here, because there was no consideration given for me when I was asking for the same kind of thing, and there was a pre-existing other right-of-way. So I'm having a little problem here with subdividing this so quickly and just saying, okay, as my understanding initially from the current owner was, and I've spoken to him a few times, that wasn't supposed to be the case, and I have no right to speak on his behalf, and I'm not. I certainly don't have any issues, but I'm having an issue with just coming in, buying up a big parcel, and then, dropping out 3 lots. And I just taken aback
Sure, and
by that.
I get that it can be like that, particularly if you're not familiar with the subdivision process, but at a high level, if you just kind of step back.
Yeah.
The primary the zoning ordinance, which the town voters approved, and we don't enact, sets minimum lot standards, frontage standards, and those generally control what you can subdivide. And as long as someone can fit regular shaped lots that have enough frontage and have enough acreage,
I understand that.
usually a pretty regular process.
Just understand, Brandon, with all due respect, sir, okay, that my council might have something to say about this, given the way we were treated a couple of years ago. Because what you're doing here is exactly what I asked for, okay? And to not put in and allow certain things to go through on my property. I own my land, just like this fellow and Ken owns that land. I'm not trying to impede him, but I was impeded, so this is what concerns me.
I'm not familiar
I
with the
understand.
parcel in the background.
We'll revisit it, oh, that's fine, but, at the same time, I'm having reluctance here to just go ahead and say, all right, great, so it meets all the subdivision requirements. Okay, well, then we're gonna have to go back and look at what the lot treatment was on my property,
So,
because I don't feel that's an equitable situation.
yeah,
Chair, gentlemen, just for the matter of record, in a
Yes.
minute, please state your name.
Yes, my name is Kerry Firmer, I own the parcel at 288,
You
and
did at the beginning?
across the street from the barn. I own this, yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
The house on the corner?
Yeah, the house on the corner,
Yes.
plus the lot to the north. There's a wood lot to the north.
Down the, on Briar Bush.
Yeah, no, not
No,
down Briar Bush.
no.
Down Baptist Hill, going north,
Or you're going east.
north. We face east, right? This is east here.
You're going up
This way is east, that is north, right? So I own this corner and I own another parcel up here.
Across
This is the
street from
parcel
Steve.
that was problematic. And to be frank, the records were very ambiguous here with this town. And I'm living in this town now 10 years, so I'm trying to be a good community member, but I gotta tell you, I've lived in a lot of places in this country and this wasn't right. So to see this now come forward, that's a problem, okay? I'm just letting you know. So that's precedent. I'm not trying to impede Ken or this gentleman here with the survey. And yep, you're right. If he meets all the requirements, I guess he can go ahead and do anything. But
I will just add, driveway permits come after they go through the select board, so that is still a process. Building permits will need to happen for any buildings that are built. So there are things that happen that involve the town that are not.
Brandon, with all due respect, sir, and I don't know you, okay, and you guys don't know me, I'm a pretty amicable guy. Driveway permits were issued in people's names that didn't even own the land. The deeds weren't even registered properly. So I don't wanna project, what I'm saying is, if that's gonna be the precedent, then I have to say, okay, great, what do we do with this other issue? Because I just feel that that's not an equitable situation. Everybody should be treated the same, right? I mean, that's what the rules are supposed to do. Allow us to be treated equitably and fairly, so. And to be honest with you, just speaking as a resident and a property owner, taxpayer, I'm a little shocked, okay? Because everything was said, oh no, we're gonna conserve the land. But that's not the case, is it? So here we are, less than a year after the acquisition, and we're looking to subdivide and build houses. Okay,
Are there any other public comment?
Yes. James Wood, I live on the corner of that. I thought that was under easement anyways, that property. And I, like you, I heard that it was just gonna be enforced.
right,
Nobody was gonna touch it.
Down here or this property? No, it's not under easement.
So what part is under easement? Because that's what I was told when I bought my house.
Which house is yours?
Yeah. You're down here,
Down there, yes.
down in
The one
here.
in the big field?
Well,
South.
it's not, well, it's a large yard, yeah, no, I wouldn't call it field. It's a big gray house with the trees in front. So, I don't know, that's just kind of a little shock to me too. I mean, it was either the previous owner lied to us or things aren't as they seem, I don't know. But, I had heard that that woods was always gonna be woods. And
Separate parcels. If there is easement.
Yeah, I know.
The easement holder has rights that can, nothing, but those are civil issues that don't come into
No, I
planning
understand.
and zoning.
No, I understand. I know there's probably nothing I can do about it either. I got my good neighbors.
Last quick question.
Yes,
So the waivers were procedural.
they are two.
Everything else in the board's line, Brandon, is compliant.
So the waivers relate to, I'll just back up and explain. So when we get an application, we take a vote to decide whether it's complete, meaning we have enough information.
I got that. Maybe I used the wrong term.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine, and it triggers, so if it's not complete, it doesn't start a clock
Right,
for how long we have to act.
right.
And the waiver was just to what information they were providing, so it's slightly less information on wetland delineation for that portion of the parcel,
Mhm.
and it's for the locus. But in terms of the subdivision motion, which we'll take back up, because we didn't finish that, there are no exceptions, and there cannot be. If there's a zoning requirement, and they don't wanna comply with the zoning requirement, they have to go to the zoning board for a variance. I don't want to point at Calvin, because he used to be on the zoning board,
That's right.
I just drag him in.
Yeah.
But we don't have the authority to negate a requirement in the zoning ordinance, so
And if I may, there's a lot here or two that bisect a different zone, correct? From an R to a what?
Agricultural.
All right. And so the agricultural lot dimension needs to be what? I'm just curious.
it's minimum lot acreage, 5 acres.
And it bisects a, what's rural, and the rural zone
Three.
lot size is 3.
3 acres.
And so what is, when you're voting to subdivide, are you doing 3 to 5, as I heard the majority,
So
acreage, whatever?
the presentation, the information we have in this plan is that both of those lots are above 5 acres, so they would satisfy in either zone,
Okay.
so we don't have
I'm
to
just
sort of
asking for
address
clarity.
that issue yet.
Thank you.
So again, how many houses are they gonna put in there? 3?
So this is not a
No.
right, an application to put houses, but each lot, once created, an owner could choose to make a use, and one allowed use in each of those zones is residential.
So we're
Each owner
talking
could put
3?
one house on each lot.
So there's,
If there isn't a,
so the question, 3 lots there then of record that would be created?
yes, if we approve the subdivision, there would be a total of 3 lots from one, meaning 2 new lots, a total of 3 from one.
Thank you.
I think I got it, but out that 2 to 3,
So the,
so they can divide it up more, you mean, or?
so it started as 1,
Right.
it's dividing 1 into 3, so you're adding 2, is what I was saying.
Oh, I see,
Right, it's a-
adding
it's
2,
a-
okay.
Increase of 2.
Okay, it sounded to me like you were saying that one could be divided
No.
into 3.
And this does not, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I'm,
I apologize.
thank you.
Does this involve any of the pre-existing lot that was further to the south that Ken owns?
No.
Okay, so this is all on the new parcels?
Separate piece of property.
Newer parcels.
Correct.
Alright. Let's restate the motion so we have it clear before we go into this. Motion to approve the subdivision, with the condition just to have, make sure that the final recorded plan has the stamp from the certified wetland site visiting.
I would just like to add one thing, and I don't know if the other surveys do this. I will get a copy of this plan that shows the topo, shows the steep slopes. When I record it, you're not gonna see any topo or any steep slopes. The only reason is the registry does not like any of that shading, anything in the text. They gotta be able to see, they don't want any lines going through their text. So in order for me to do that, you're not gonna make heads or tails of all these squiggly lines. That's all I'm
So
saying.
the topo lines will just be deleted and.
Correct. The topo lines will be deleted, obviously the steep slopes will be deleted because they're not gonna mean anything without the topo. But the town will have a copy of this plan that you're looking at with the topo.
I feel like
Combo
we've
is
had
a
this
requirement in
conversation.
our regulations.
It is, but I mean, I can put it on there, but when I start cutting all this text out, you're just gonna have a bunch of squiggly lines that. Been doing this for a few years. Most towns are okay with it, I guess is what I'm saying.
I feel like we've had this conversation with webs, maps before, and I think we said it was fine. That you should do it the way he thinks would work. But
I can do it.
people are welcome to argue with me. I'm inclined to think he knows what he's talking about personally.
I can do it, it's just that when
He's also inclined to, he said that the plan that he submitted had a wetland stamp, it did not. The one that was presented by Michelle in the file that was sent to us last week did not have a wetland stamp on it, so he's saying it did, so. I'm not saying that Webb doesn't know what he's doing, I'm just saying,
Did you send them the
Combo is
11 by
part of our-
17 or the full scale? Because the full scales are stamped, I know they are. These
the
larger
electronic
sheets.
ones. That were sent out to us.
I just send the small,
Yeah, and see
Digital.
those aren't stamped.
and I apologize for not, we're working together and did not bring the maps with us tonight, they're sitting on my desk.
Yeah.
And I almost volunteered to go up and get them, and then I said I don't wanna run out of
But
them. I didn't think you would need them, but I can go get them if you need them right now.
I know they're stamped because I
I know
have
they're,
it.
There, he's in front of us and he's saying there is a stamped plan and that's a representation that if it turns out to be false on us or what we're doing there. So I'm fine with that and we will follow up and confirm. On the recording piece, we can, that's a sort of post-application piece that we can take care of. So we'll follow up and I'll talk and we'll see what has been done from other
Okay.
subdivisions
All right.
and whether we have required other applicants to follow.
Okay.
Topographic lines.
Mr. President,
Yes.
would it be conceivable to leave the steep slopes and remove the contour lines? Because I think that does give us information.
I could, but normally, you know, the steep slopes go with contour lines.
So
That's how you determine the steep slopes.
the plan that we have will always be part of the town's record in the property file for the application. The way I typically see it is the purpose of recording is to put someone on notice, they know sort of the boundaries of their properties and what requirements they are. And topographic doesn't impose a requirement as to where they're developing the lot or what they can do. So it's not necessary information for people doing title and looking at it. But it will be preserved in the application file.
It is for building permit. But as you said, it's in our file, so the building department inspector can reference that.
Yes. So that's why I personally don't have a preference, but I also want to see what the town's been doing and just follow it. So we'll follow up on that piece.
No. Fine.
Any further discussion on the pending motion? All right. All in favor of the motion? Aye. All opposed? All right. Thank you, Webb, and
Thank you.
both of you for coming as well.
How do we get a copy of that proposed plan?
You come to the town office during business hours.
Yes, Mandy, is it
It's on
Mandy?
the website, isn't it?
my name's Michelle.
Michelle, I'm
Can you
sorry,
come? Sure.
thank you.
Mandy too, Mandy can help.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, so
We got an
the
email, so
non-stamped
give
one,
comments.
if you go to,
No, that's fine.
but if you go to Town of Canterbury Planning Board and there's a link for today's date,
Yes,
all the application materials are there. So there is the non-stamped plan is one of the PDF documents. And you can get the stamped one by going to the town office.
a suggestive thought, just when you send me a certified letter, maybe you should send what it's about, even though it was just a general description in the certified letter. It just would be helpful, that's all. Thank you for everybody that volunteers, I appreciate it. I gotta tell you, I'm not happy with this, but I don't have anything else to say. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Drive safe.
All right. Thanks. Not the red, I just started moving my stuff. Thank you. Next business, I'm gonna try to speed through the rest of this, the snow keeps coming up. There was a question from Jim Snyder about whether the Canterbury rectangle is required because it is not explicitly called out in the land development regulations. And Michelle pulled the closest provision,
We missed that, I think.
the closest provision that would apply, and it talks about dimensions. I would say, I think further on that list, it's any other information the planning board might require. And that information is a lot size standard requirement from the zoning ordinance, which we have no ability to make. And so,
So
regardless of whether it's expressly called out, we do need that information to make sure that an application complies with the zoning ordinance.
it is in the ordinance, when Jim called me before he called you, I told him I thought it was in the red.
Yes, and so I think his point is, it's not in the land development regulations, it's not in the subdivision regulations. And that may be correct, and we can take care of that, notice that change to make it more simple.
Yeah.
But it's in the ordinance, and so it's absolutely something that needs to be there.
Does it need to be in the land use regulations?
It doesn't need to, but it should be so that it's easier for people to, it's easier for us going through, do we have the right information? It's easier for people to understand and make sure their plan complies. Okay. So good on that, so we will, I think the answer would be, like you told them, I think already, it's in the zoning ordinance. It is information the planning board needs, and then we'll revisit soon to make it more explicit in regulations.
I tried to convince him to run for planning board, he refused.
Pardon me?
I tried to convince him to run for planning board again, he refused.
Alright. Other business. Megan drafted description, a short description of each of the zoning amendment changes. She sent them by email. And I
Also
said
have some
you
printed
have printed copies.
I thought they were great, but I have some, relatively minor comments throughout.
Yeah, these are drafts, so focus with their collaboration. Those who don't have it right up for. Yeah, Sharon, did you already do the minutes?
We have not done the minutes
I
yet.
didn't see that.
That'll be the last time. You must have done it.
Yeah.
For the record, I would very much appreciate this stuff an hour before we meet. To add any comments or to, anything to add constructively is, I think we're all busy. An hour before I came here, I was eating dinner, I wasn't thinking I was gonna have to proofread comments. We're woefully late.
Rich,
Do
does
that,
this
do
actually
we
be
do
then
today?
discussion, or does this
So,
just make
Logan.
everything take longer?
Logan, I don't interrupt you when you're talking.
Please just finish your comments.
That an hour before we're gonna discuss them is very little time.
So, I agree that we would all like to have more information with lots of time. But the other part of your comment that I think applies to all of us is we are all busy. And that applies equally to time for review stuff as time to draft things. And so I am very appreciative that Megan volunteered to do this, I didn't have to. And yes, in an ideal world, we get them sooner, but I am very thankful that Megan took the time to draft these. So while we're here right now in the more productive use, I'd like to just walk through these one by one. If we have some changes, we can make some changes. And I think the deadline was the 19th of February to get it to Beth. So we have a little bit of time if we need to change it. But starting with the wetlands setback piece.
All of these need the number of the warrant article. I'm hoping that'll be added.
Yeah, that's good.
I have a couple of minor comments on this. Do I just start, can I just give them to the secretary, or do I want to go through them one by one?
Megan, I wanna ask you anything else, or do you have a draft where you want to just make revisions now as people are going? If not, you can compile them and,
No, I,
okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so.
Okay, so wetland setback, right in the middle of the second line, it says a concerned member, and I thought it would be concerned members.
It was one, I mean,
Just one
perhaps,
person?
but it was one person that came and presented this that formed the subcommittee, so.
Okay, and then in the second to last line, after the word advocated, I think you should strike the word for. And in that same line, you can strike the word fairly, it is either consistent or not consistent. So let's take out the word fairly.
It is fairly consistent, it's not, it's actually smaller.
I mean, this is
than
what people
but-
are gonna vote on, right? I mean, right, this is what goes on the,
No, these are.
No, this
newsletter.
isn't, this is just for,
this is just the newsletter?
This is just to like give a little more background
Oh,
about.
I thought this was
the
for the, but.
this is
no.
background on our reasoning behind.
Okay, so this is
the warrant.
meant to be more
Alright,
common,
I'll leave
common
it,
speak.
I'll leave alone my those sorts of.
It's lay speak, it's not,
Yeah,
those have already been drafted, this is just for,
okay, well, that's the end of that.
okay, no comments then?
On other ones, but we're not going.
The only one I just wanna flag and see if there's a sense of where they wanna change is the, I don't know, the lines are the same on how I looked at it, but I have as the third to last line, the board chose a more moderate distance, and the word chose, do we want a different, or like, proposed, it maybe is a,
And also, and this is just now dawning on me that I didn't know that this was a subcommittee proposal, do I need to?
well, it's ultimately the planning board
Yeah, okay,
voted to put it, so it's, but I was thinking, that's a good word, right, but proposed, because we're not putting it in place.
Oh, right.
the board proposes a more moderate distance.
And the last one is, I don't know if it's for changing reasonable land use or adding after it. Right,
Did I miss a word?
no, I'm thinking we should add or change to, the words I'm looking for. To highlight that one of the goals was not to take away land uses or to be overly restrictive. So I don't know the right words here, but like
Freedom
while retaining, you know,
Responsible land use. Where is this?
Well,
well, I'm
you
just
have
at a high
to-
level, so ignore the text for a second. One of the goals in the language that was chosen is that we wouldn't overly regulate the amount of uses that could be used in a setback, that it was sort of a minimal restriction, it's just, right, land disturbing activities and structures.
What if we
So-
could say reasonable land use rights?
Maybe balancing environmental stewardship with preserving reasonable,
Yeah.
the right to
preserving-
reasonably use the land,
Sure,
does that
I
work?
mean, people like rights.
Right.
Everyone likes rights, they like to have rights,
I agree,
so,
okay.
you know,
Without
So-
responsibilities, but.
Yeah.
So balancing environmental stewardship with preserving the right to reasonably use the land. So,
Use the land, got it.
okay,
What we're proposing for the minimum distance.
no,
What is the
don't know,
minimum in regards to the other towns?
I didn't see one that was smaller, so I think you say minimum in that sense, he has two different amounts.
Moderate distance seems like it was middle of the road compared to other towns. 25 was minimal.
Maybe say instead of more moderate, say a shorter setback distance.
Then you get rid of the consistency.
Yeah, fairly consistent with.
it's not inconsistent with your right.
Which is, the board proposes a short wetland setback, cut the whole rest of that clause, comma, balancing environmental stewardship with the other.
Yeah.
What is it, 25 feet? Why don't we just say
It's-
25 foot?
Well, it's 25 for structures and 15 for land disturbing activities, I believe. And I think that's a harder thing to explain in a short blurb.
You're right.
Alright. Anything further on wetland setback as a cluster development?
I got a couple of comments. At the end of the second line, it says has proven ineffective. I don't think that's accurate. I would replace that with only partially effective.
And I did go with the word control, I know there was some debate about that, everyone's okay with how I used it here.
I think this is, I think you did a good job, and a difficult set of information and,
It was a hard one.
Yeah, it was a good conversation about that, you guys had.
Alright, anything further, Josh, on cluster? Alright, data centers?
I have a on the second to the last line, the word found, telling you, maybe that word should be determined. You didn't really find it.
I kind of think the sentence prior to that, to the second to last sentence, maybe the easiest thing to do is cut it.
Second to last sentence.
It's under state law, local regulations don't explicitly. It's technically, our ordinance is written as unless it is allowed, it's prohibited. And so we've arguably already prohibited it. This is more about making sure that someone can't weasel the definition into a different use, which is a harder concept to explain.
You're suggesting
I think just
building in
Cutting that
one
line
sentence?
seems,
yeah, I think just
seems
cutting
like
that
a
sentence will keep it
smart.
shorter and not, so just trying to avoid sort of the harder concepts. Then it'll just be the board found or determined it was important to address this issue in advance to provide clarity and avoid unintended outcomes, which is exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
Someone's not unintentionally,
Shorter is better anyway.
Yeah.
Took it out.
alright. Gross living area?
My question on this one is, doesn't this just apply to ADUs?
I think that term is only used in the ADU, if I remember right, it's only used in the ADU portion of the ordinance, but the definition isn't in the ADU portion. Am I getting that right? That in theory, it like,
we could apply this definition to other aspects.
You
Right.
could, but it's like, the way it's written, if we don't restrict it explicitly to ADUs, I'm afraid it would be misunderstood as
So-
affecting people's taxation or
That's-
whatever.
it's a good point though, if we do clarifies how gross living area and instead of the rest of that clause say, is calculated for ADUs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
rather than measure for zoning purposes.
How about this part, clarifies how gross living area is calculated, okay, yeah,
For
ADUs. Just for ADUs.
You might wanna write
Do-
out accessory dwelling units,
Yeah.
just,
Do we need to cut the last sentence though? Because don't we no longer, the gross living area requirement exists, but it's a building permit issue? Right, isn't that I'm remembering the change in the law, that they're no longer coming to us for a permit
yeah,
if
Oh, you need to get rid of the clear management, clear measurement
well,
sentence?
yes, because it says for the board when reviewing proposals, because we won't, if,
And yeah, it's not for the board.
we technically haven't updated the other portion of the ordinance, but they're not coming here anymore.
Good.
Got it, so just delete that last sentence
Yeah.
entirely.
So are we just removing and the board or the whole sentence?
I think the whole sentence is.
I mean, you could just say clear measurement standards help avoid ambiguity.
Period.
Would you rather that, or?
I personally prefer the shorter, like 2-sentence approach. You've got the word clarifies in the first sentence, and I think people can figure it out. It's just sort of a smaller one anyway. No need to- Alright, legislative compliance.
I have a couple of comments. One, in the second line after state law, that's a semicolon, either a period or a comma. And then in the last sentence, planning board is required to bring the ordinance into compliance. I would just start that with, we're not required to anything. So, it is, I would suggest something like it is good practice to bring Canterbury's ordinance into compliance with state law so that local regulations remain valid, enforceable, and understandable. So is how I'm.
Josh, is this another one where we could just cut it, because in the first
Oh,
sentence you
yeah.
say to comply with recent changes in New Hampshire state law.
Yes, that's good.
Alright,
Simpler is better.
alright, thank you again.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, sorry.
My question, Joshua, about the semicolon before I noted the RSA. You
Yeah,
want a
see,
period there, so
well,
that the RSA is.
in legal citation, it's period, but I know some people would put a comma and I wanted to leave it up to you, but technically it's a period. But it's not a semicolon, and no matter how we do
We have years of citation.
yeah, you have, but that's not,
But he is
I'll
correct in
put a
terms of
comma.
how lawyers would write it, yes. A
I'll put
comma would work
comma.
as
it
well.
would work, I think it's not gonna argue with that.
Alright,
And this is gonna be for with some
right, but,
common problem.
It's just a bunch of gibberish, so like people.
alright,
I
Go to that.
semicolon.
thank you again. You'll touch base with,
I'll send it right over to you, I was gonna add the warrant article numbers, and then I'll
If you
just
have them,
email it to
Do
you.
we have to have them?
Oh.
Sometimes
I'm
we
looking
don't
at
have them
proposed-
till
No,
like-
I don't think I have them.
Very last
I think
minute.
Joshua was asking for those when he thought that this was like for the on the ballot.
Oh,
Or
right.
that-
Oh, okay,
what's
so you-
But it would be good to reference them if we
Yeah.
can.
If we
If
have,
we had
do
the
you have an idea
information,
when
I
the
would
warrant's
say,
gonna be
do it,
finalized?
but if we don't have the
I think you
information.
don't have to until like 2 weeks before,
I
right?
think,
So you
yeah,
can-
We've definitely got time.
Okay.
but we want to get this
Sand is
part
part
of the
The new.
sooner than that.
It's, right, this is for the newsletter, right?
Mhm.
If we don't have them, I think that the couples have
No, absolutely. I thought this was.
Okay.
And you folks want me to post this to the Facebooks?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll send this.
I was like, what is Facebook do? Okay. Last item of business was minutes. Before we get there, does anyone have new business? And I will remind you, it is snowing, so please don't have new business.
And I have a suggestion
That's a
for
person
minutes.
pull your hair thing.
Megan, I didn't get your edits from Cal till 7, so we didn't get copies, and you have an extensive edits. So if we could maybe postpone that for the next meeting, we'll have it printed out, a copy for everyone for your edits.
I'm fine with that proposal. Any problem with the rest of the board? We have a motion to move the approval of the minutes to the next meeting.
Motion to bump the minutes to the next meeting on the grounds of information shortage and the large volumes of
Check it.
You know, I wouldn't have voted for it if you didn't have the snow. So, okay, all in favor?
I
Aye. All opposed? Alright. Any other business?
motion to adjourn.
There is second. All in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you all, and
Good.